What is up, everyone, and welcome back to the Triple H podcast, Happy Hour Hoops, presented by Trainwreck Sports. Steve, Jake, and myself, ready to talk all things NBA. Just a few weeks away, 2 weeks away from opening night, a little less than 2 weeks away, actually. And I could not be more excited, guys. We got the top 100, 50 to 26 today that we're going to jump right into. I'm even more delusional about the Celtics than last week. I don't know how that's possible, but had to throw the Tatum jersey on today. We will get to that. Steve, Jake, how we doing before we get into the 50 to 26?
Doing well. Preseason basketball is kind of in full swing right now. We're getting there, Dunny, and we are almost single-digit days away until the NBA. We're
Mm-hmm.
so close. Can't wait. Just a couple more Tuesdays until opening night. You know, I already got my calendar circled for the games on opening night, but I'm excited, man. We're getting there, and this is kind of my favorite time of our podcast is because we get to dive into right before the season starts. We got going through top 25 players here, a little news, and then next week, predictions, some hot takes. Can't wait.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait to really start talking about the 2025-2026 NBA season. It's going to be here in less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, it is pretty wild to see. Dunny, we got Sunday night Cavs Celtics.
Oh yeah,
We're ready
oh
to
yeah.
go here. We're,
We
we're
sure
in
do,
mid-season form. It's beautiful to see some preseason basketball. It was great to watch some Cavs basketball the other day. Donovan Mitchell on the floor, looking in mid-season form. Just great to see that, even if it's only for a quarter, whatever the starters are out there for. It's just a beautiful thing to hear the hard court back going, and yeah, we got a lot to get into today. So let's get to the list, shall we?
Yeah, Jake, kick us off. Kick us off with your guy here.
And yeah, we got a Cav right at number 50 here. Jared Allen. Jared Allen, I think this is we were debating where he should be on this. I think right smack in the middle of this top 100 makes a lot of sense. One of the best rebounding and defensive centers in the league. A great lob threat. Has great chemistry with Donovan Mitchell right now and Darius Garland. Just does a lot of the dirty work for the Cavs. He's been really fun, really impressive. Honestly, his whole career, a surprise. Was a great player for the Nets before. So happy to have Jared Allen make his debut on the list here and get to number 50.
Yeah, I think since his Nets days too, just like criminally underrated big man in the NBA. So shout out Jared Allen. 49, we are going to go Austin Reeves here, number 49 on the Happy Hour Hoops top 100. I mean, look, this is a guy who's gotten better every year he's been in the league. Is done great playing alongside LeBron, and then in the short time he's played alongside Luca, he looks great there too. Looked even better as soon as Luca came along because he, just less pressure, doesn't have to do as much playmaking, just a natural born scorer. I think some people would argue could he even be higher on this list, which we'll see how the season goes. I won't push back on that too much, but gonna have a lot of opportunity to start the season, and we'll get to that in the notes. But yeah, Austin Reeves I think makes sense here.
Next one here, Mr. Durability himself, Mikal
Yeah.
Bridges at 48. I mean, this guy, he doesn't miss games, and he'll play pretty much the full length of the game. I mean, that's what he was doing with the Knicks last year. I think he averaged 37 minutes a game. He didn't miss a game. He started every game. And this is a guy who's one of the better two-way players in the NBA. He can create his own shot. He can shoot the three-point well, can drive a little bit, and then he can also defend pretty much anyone. And that's what I really like about Mikal Bridges. His offensive game, I don't want to say took a step back on the Knicks last year, but he didn't have to do as much because he technically was, the third option after Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns. But this is a guy who, when guys are out, he can step up. We've seen him do it in his Brooklyn days. We've seen this guy step up as the number one option. We've seen him play the role player role perfectly. Mikal Bridges is what I call kind of like the ultimate teammate. It's just any roster in the NBA, you can just plug Mikal Bridges in and it'll work. And this is a guy where he may not average 25 a game. He may not put up jaw-dropping box scores, but this is a guy that's going to help you win every single night.
Mikal Bridges at 48. Lauri Markkanen at 47 from the Utah. A guy who's been in trade rumors the last couple years. Maybe gets traded this year, goes to a contender, and really shows what he's able to do. But he's been one of the best scorers in the league. Has a lot of opportunity to score in Utah, but he's been their best player by far. Moved around the league a little bit, obviously, but this deal for him going to Utah has turned out really well to just show like how complete of an offensive player he really is. He's a bucket, can fill up the score sheet as well as anybody in the league. A little bit of a liability defensively, but I think his future in the league is being a second or third best guy in a playoff team. Right now, he's the best guy on a team not even close to the playoffs. So he's in this 47 range. I feel like makes a lot of sense, but I feel like he can move up depending on if he goes to a spot that fits his skill set better.
If you guys had to place a wager that Lauri would get traded at the deadline, are you placing that wager?
Should get traded at the deadline. We'll see what the Jazz actually do. Yeah, I mean,
the Warriors made a lot of
year.
sense before they traded for Jimmy last year. Yeah.
Like, they're still rumored for him though. That's still just constantly floated around.
Kuminga for Markkanen, like if that's like the structure of the deal, if they don't think Kuminga's staying around,
right?
I don't know. I could see something like that. I don't know. Like maybe Detroit.
I wouldn't hate that.
Yeah.
Milwaukee. I don't know if they have the assets.
Who knows what Milwaukee's gonna do?
Just add to their front court.
Right.
We'll see with Lauri. I think he gets traded.
I think so too.
Danny's got to do something with all those picks and players.
Boston done
it. We'll get to them.
We have
a complete team, okay?
Oh boy.
Number 46. DeMar DeRozan. It's at age 36. He made it to number 46 in our top 100. I mean, look, if you watch basketball, you know who DeMar DeRozan is. He's a bucket. He's a guy who's still doing it. He's on the Sacramento Kings now. If you haven't been keeping tabs on DeMar DeRozan the last couple of years, mid-range assassin, just every stop he's had in his NBA career, he's just helped the team that he's on immensely. He was a warrior in Toronto. He was the reason they got the championship, even though he wasn't there for it, because he was, the centerpiece of the Kawhi Leonard trade, sending him to San Antonio. Like I mentioned, now on the Kings. I mean, not really much to say about DeRozan. I think this is kind of a fair spot for him. It's impressive at his age, and this is where DeMar lies, 46.
At 45, we got the new Orlando Magic, Desmond Bane. I think one of the more intriguing players on this list. This is a guy all three of us really, really like. This guy also is a bucket, but pretty good defender too. He's jacked, and he's also a guy who's, a very, very efficient shooter. Last year, 48, 39, and 89 shooting splits. This is a guy that was the exact type of player the Orlando Magic needed. They needed a guy they could rely on offensively night in, night out, but not only that, they needed a guy who could stretch the floor, that could rely on for the outside shot, which has been kind of the biggest weakness of the Magic the past couple of years. You bring in a guy like Desmond Bane now on this Orlando team, I wouldn't be shocked if he leads the Orlando Magic in points. And you look at the supporting cast around him, Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, Jalen Suggs. This is a lot better than when he was carrying this Memphis Grizzlies team that didn't have Ja for most of the season, a lot of injuries. Jared Jackson was always banged up. And now Desmond Bane kind of gets to fall into a role where I feel like he'll be a lot more comfortable, as he might not have to be the go-to guy every night, but he's probably going to get a lot better looks than he had in Memphis. And that's kind of scary considering this guy's putting up 20 points a night on, almost a 50% shooting clip, 40% from the outside. Desmond Bane would not be shocked if he's averaging around 25 points a game this year.
Yeah, definitely a trade that still feels like it didn't get enough attention.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Orlando in general is going to be really, really interesting to watch this year because of Bane, but just the talent in general. 44, Scotty Barnes. I mean, guys, I don't think if I would have told you 2 years ago Scotty Barnes is at 44, I don't think any of us would have believed that. It's been a
Yeah,
weird,
what a roller
weird,
coaster of a career.
Right.
yeah, roller coaster. It's been a weird start. It's a weird team in Toronto right now, but this is a guy that if he's top 20 on this list next year, I wouldn't be surprised. Like all the potential in the world to be one of the preeminent two-way players in the league. It's just been a weird couple years, especially with the Raptors not really knowing what they want to do or what they want to be, or at least seeming like they don't know what they want to be. I think they're a team that wants to kind of compete this year at the very least. They're paying a lot of guys like they want to compete. So we'll see how Scotty fits in with all that. Another year with Ingram there and everything else. But yeah, 44 is where he sits, but I wouldn't be surprised if he flies up higher on this list.
43, another Orlando Magic member, Franz Wagner of the Orlando Magic, like I just said. Don't know why I said it twice. Look, this is a guy who I wasn't entirely that high on coming into the league. He's kind of won me over the past couple of years. Obviously, had the weird oblique injury at the same time as Paolo last year, which just was horrible for the Magic. We talked about it. I think they're going to be much improved. I think the Desmond Bain addition only helps guys like Franz and Paulo. I think just, a lot of pressure was on those two young guys for
Yeah.
playmaking, scoring, defense, just everything in one. And, you have this guy like Bain, who Steve talked about. Like he's a legit weapon, and it should alleviate some pressure from Wagner. His shooting's gotten better every year. He's really impressive attacking from the 3-point line, just attacking from the wing in general. But I think this is a good spot for him, and next year he'll probably be higher.
Speaking of a guy who I think might be higher next year is at 42, Jalen Johnson. I mean, this was a guy who was on his way to a career season, potentially an all-star appearance, maybe most improved player of the year before his injury. And you look at Jalen Johnson, his numbers still, and I think it was only 36 games. He averaged 19 points a game, 10 assists, or 10 rebounds and 5 assists. This is a guy who can check every single box. He's 6'8". He's got a long wingspan. He can defend. He can rebound as good as anyone for his size, and he can score from anywhere on the court. Jalen Johnson is just one of those two where you just kind of watch him and you're just blown away. You're just impressed. And that is what I kind of saw on the Atlanta Hawks at the start of last year. I was like, oh my God, Jalen Johnson took that step. I mean, this is a guy who is 23 years old, guys. He's got a lot of years before he even reaches his prime. And we're already seeing the growth. I'm curious to see how he'll be coming back from the injury. But if you listen to the past couple of weeks, you know how much all three of us love this Hawks team this year, how high we are on the Hawks. And Jalen Johnson, I think, is going to be a big piece of that team's success this year. So I love Jalen Johnson. I would not be surprised if he flies up the rankings next year.
I love it. He's been he was such a fun revelation last year. I'm excited to see what he does. 41 Zion Williamson. I really got a lot of the confounding guys here, because Zion is another one who, if he was top 20, I'd be a little bit surprised, but I'd be like, okay, that makes sense. He's getting to where he is. Skinny Zion came through. If he drops to like 65 on this list next year, I wouldn't be surprised.
Right.
It's been
you go 30 spots in either direction.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Big variance with Zion. So 41 feels right, because when he's on the floor and when he's healthy, he's one of the best players in the league. Like, he's one of the most impactful players. He's like such a unique talent. He could play. He's run point for this team. He can rebound as well as anybody else in the NBA when he's at his peak. He's such a dominant force inside. Like, the shot charts for Zion are crazy when you look at him, but he's damn near unstoppable around the rim. But it's just the health and availability and really the maturity level. Like, this is the first year we've seen him. How long have we been talking about Zion just needs to get in shape and he'll be fine? This is the first year that he at least appears to be in great shape coming into the season. We'll see how the cardio is and everything else when the season really starts. But this is he's a guy who should be higher on this list at this point in his career. He's not. We'll see what happens going forward. So we're at 41. That's where we're going to sit with him now. But Yeah, 30 could be 30 higher, could 30 lower. It was perfectly said, Dunny. Who knows what was Zion after this year? I will not be placing any futures bets on Zion.
And
To say the least.
That goes for the Pelicans too, right? As Zion goes, the Pelicans go. So it's just two of the biggest question marks in the NBA. And you're right, Jake. I mean, Zion's a guy where if he has a full year of health, if it's true that it's skinny Zion, we saw what the potential for this guy could be. Everyone saw it. He had a large enough sample size where we saw it. We know what it's capable of. But also, too, you're right. Zion could just, I don't want to say phase out, but kind of get to that point where it's like, all right, we're tired of Zion. Like, he's just a guy at this point.
All right.
We got 40 Julius Randle. Talk about variance for a player here. When we were constructing this list, I hit you guys with the Tony Romo a little bit. I was like, I don't know where to put Julius Randle. And yeah, I mean, I guess landing at 40 is where he landed for us. Look, this is a guy who has the talent. I think last year was a really good find for the Timberwolves and a really good home for Julius Randle, and it's kind of like a little bit of a fuck you year for Julius Randle. Obviously ended super poorly in New York. He's part of the reason that Karl Anthony Towns goes to New York. He has a new home in Minnesota. He's obviously, had the past playoff woes, and there's still that big question mark, but the talent is the talent. Like, Randle is a guy who's a little undersized to play his position, but he can bang down low with just about anyone. He can take guys off the dribble. His outside shot's good. And he's not a slouch on defense either. So I think 40 is a fair spot for Randle. I'm sure there's some Knicks fans out there that would be screaming for him to be lower, but we have Julius Randle in the 40 spot in our Happy Hour Hoops Top 100.
Coming in at 39. This might be a little high right now, but this is someone we're all very, very high on. Dunny's had firsthand experience with this guy. It's Amen Thompson. Mm-hmm. Amen Thompson is just a dog, man. He is a dog. He can play the 1, he can play the 2, he can play the 3, he can play the 4, he can play the 5. Amen Thompson does not back down for anyone. He will guard anyone. And I think the reason we're putting him at 39 is because we kind of saw his offensive game start to take that jump at the second half of last year. Really all of last year, but really kind of was prevalent in the second half of last year. And this is a guy on Amen Thompson. We're now on the Rockets where you got KD there. You have Sengun there. He doesn't have to be, the primary scoring option, but he can have nights where he will be. But much like when I talked about Mikal Bridges, I think this is a guy who's just going to show up every single night for you. I just feel like this is a guy who is going to be the exact type of player you want on your team. And if we're talking about potential here, that's kind of why we put Amen at 39. A raw athleticism, there might be five guys in the NBA who are more athletic than Amen Thompson. The biggest questions was outside shooting and offensive game, and we kind of saw him improve that as the year went on. He's starting to get a bag offensively. And if he has that, then the sky's the limit for this kid. We could be talking about potential, defensive player of the year in the future for Amen Thompson. But not only that, we could be talking about a guy who could put up kind of almost like Paul George type numbers going forward. I love Amen Thompson. I know all three of us do. Dunny watched him drop, 40 in the Garden on you?
And a game winner.
And a game winner. So just an absolute dog and a guy who, is up here right now for his potential, but I don't think any of us would be surprised if he climbed even higher next year.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Amen, this is going to be a fun year for him, especially with the expectations around that Rockets team, which we'll get into that Rockets team a little bit later on too. But 38, Chet Holmgren of the defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder. This is a guy who had a ton of hype coming out, was put immediately into a great situation. And I think it was fair to question, like, how much responsibility would they put on him? How much of a role would he have when they get into the playoffs, everything else? They leaned on him a lot throughout the whole last year. He had a lot of responsibility on this team. He's a great defensive player already. The offensive talent, though, is evident when you see him. The things that he can do as a big man are special. The handle that he has, the shot that he has. If Wemby didn't exist, we'd talk about him like an offensive wizard and mastermind at his size, with the things that he's able to do. So I think 38 is fair. And another guy who I would not be surprised to see fly up this list this year, depending on how they decide to use him and how he kind of develops his game going forward alongside Shai Gilgeous.
I honestly think this guy might be one of the harder ones that at least I had to think about on this list, but it's LaMelo Ball at 37. I think the talent alone gets him here, but I mean, I can't really make this a negative thing about LaMelo Ball if he's at 37, but I mean, it's the numbers that have LaMelo here because outside of the talent and the numbers, he hasn't really been on the court enough to tell us that he impacts winning. And then when he is on the court, he doesn't really tell us that he impacts winning either because the Hornets have kind of just been a nothing burger since he's been there. I mean, that's just been the Hornets franchise in general, but I mean, look, like 25, 5, and 7.5 last year. Like, he's great, right? Like, he puts up big numbers. He's super talented. He's a 6'7" point guard. So I think just like that stuff alone has LaMelo Ball here. But this is a happy hour hoops challenge for LaMelo Ball to go out there and kind of show your worth. Show us that you can impact winning the way that, the Hornets believe you can, the way that your fans believe you can. I mean, he was, I think, one of the highest voted All-Stars last year. Like, the fans love LaMelo Ball. He's flashy as hell, but I would like to see LaMelo Ball start winning, but we had LaMelo Ball at 37.
36 was another brutally tough one to rank. This is going to be none other than Mr. Ja Morant.
Yeah.
Ja Morant is one where the talent's there. You've seen the talent. This is a guy that averaged 23 points a game last year. This is a guy that we've seen highlight reel after highlight reel after highlight reel. But this is also a guy who's had, injury concerns and also off-court issues, and that has to, come into play when you're going into the ranking of these guys. Ja Morant is tough because I think there were points in his career where we were like, this is one of the 5 guys you want is the future of your franchise. And then there were other points in his career where like, we don't even know what to do with him. Is he even worthy of an NBA team wanting to deal with Ja Morant? So I guess we'll see. It's kind of similar to Zion, but a little bit different because there's more off-court stuff where Ja Morant, we know the talent is there. We've seen the talent before, and now we want to see it for a full 82-game season. If you're talking about just the guy on the basketball court, I love Ja Morant. And, no more Desmond Bane. We'll see what happens this year with the Grizzlies, but I don't know what we're going to get for Ja Morant and how many games we're going to get. So this is why he lands at 36, when in reality, talent-wise, he's probably a top 20 talent in the NBA.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would
I
expect
think there's going to be some people mad at us about Ja Morant.
Where else how do you justify putting him higher, though? That's the thing.
No, I'm fine where it is.
Another one that much like Zion he could be 30 spots higher next year. Maybe he's an all NBA level guy this year. Like, I wouldn't be surprised, but yeah, like, you just can't. It's not about his play on the court. It's like he just hasn't been a reliable basketball player, teammate, whatever the last couple of years. So who knows? Memphis is a weird team too. I mean, we'll see what happens with them. But Darius Garland, 35. Darius Garland is a guy. I mean, he's offensive talent is elite, right? Like, he's one of the elite bucket getters, especially at his size. He can finish exceptionally around the rim. He's one of the best 3-point shooters in the league, and I think the advanced stats would say, I'm not named Steph Curry, he's like he's the best 3-point shooter in the league. He's incredible off the dribble, spot up. The handle is crazy. It's really the biggest thing with him is he's a defensive liability, and he gets hurt all the time. He's dealing with an injury to start this year with a turf toe. And and he's been hurt most of the playoff runs they've had the last couple years, and it's really affected them. So a healthy Darius Garland helps make the Cavs go. Like a healthy Darius Garland is a big reason they won 60 games last year and could win 60 games again this year if he's healthy. But it's the injury concern as much as anything else, I think, to me, that puts him down to this list. And defensively, it's hard. You got to hide him a little bit in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You got your two Cavs, Jake.
Perfectly done. Yeah, look at that. We didn't even plan that. It just works out that way.
Number 34, De'Aaron Fox. This is someone who I'm just intrigued by because we didn't get too much of the Wemby Fox duo. Really didn't get it at all last year. And now we get fully healthy Wemby. Fox just, fully in the Spurs organization and system, a little more comfortable there. And it kind of feels like those two guys are going to get the keys because we kind of, I think people were kind of down the middle with it, whether the Spurs were going to make like a big splash this summer. Instead, they kind of kept their draft picks, young guys around, a couple of vets on this team, but this is going to be the Fox and Wemby show, and I'm really excited to see what that means. De'Aaron Fox just, constantly one of the fastest guys in the NBA since he's come in. Can score in transition, can score in the half court. But I think an underrated passer. I think, people think of Fox for his speed and scoring first, but I do think he's a better playmaker than people give him credit for. So, yeah, De'Aaron Fox, a lot of sense at 34 on our list.
33. He just keeps climbing. ESPN had him high. It's going to be Derek White at 33. I mean, Dunny will probably add on to what I have to say, but this is a guy who checks every single box of what you want. He can defend, he can play make, he can score, and he's one of those players that just gets better as the game goes on, where you watch Derek White, and sometimes it can still be, well, Tatum and Jaylen Brown is healthy, and Derek White's their go-to option in the fourth quarter. I mean, this is just the guy that just knows when the moment's bigger, when he needs to step up, and he's a guy who can really do everything. He can shoot from the outside, he can drive, he can defend, he can really, there's no holes in Derek White's game. They absolutely robbed him from the Spurs, and this is just a player who just continues to get better year after year after year. And to be completely honest with you, I feel like even though he's 31 years old, I feel like he's improved every single season of the past 5-6 years, which is kind of rare nowadays, where you have a guy in his 30s who's just continuing to get better. So we love Derek White. We'll put him at 33.
Yeah, I mean, I'm obsessed with the Derek White at 33, obviously. No, Steve, you know what? I'll wait till my Celtics to lose because Steve covered it there.
Good hold off there, Dunny. 32, Tyrese Maxey. One of the Dunny does not like Tyrese Maxey ahead of Derek White. That's okay.
It's
Tyrese,
fine.
An electric scorer and a crazy athlete at the point guard position. Yeah, I mean he's the engine. It was the engine of this Sixers team, and with Embiid's injury issues he's had the last couple of years, Paul George being as inconsistent as ever, Tyrese Maxey really came into his own and kind of filled the star need that they had there. And now it's not Maxey. Like if Embiid's there, it's still Embiid's team, but it feels more like it's Maxey's team than anything else, right? And we even heard last year, like there was Maxey's the one who called out Embiid in a players only meeting about, habits and getting to practice, I think meetings on time and things like that. So he's taken on more leadership the last couple of years, but he's just an elite scorer. He's a great defender. He has great size for his position. 32, much to Dunny's chagrin, feels like a good spot for him.
That's fine. I like Maxey. And, I will say I agree with you. I do think it's Maxey's team and not Embiid's. So I am up 31. Ooh, Jimmy Butler. This is I wonder if he was still on the Heat if we would have had him higher or if he would still be around this rank. But Jimmy Butler comes in at 31. I mean, he showed us. He showed us, towards the end of the season that he still has that Jimmy Butler in him. He still has that playoff Jimmy in him. Playing alongside Steph, it took like a game or two, but like two competitors like that, like it's going to work out. He can do a little bit of everything. I mean, there's been times of Butler's career, like when he was in Chicago, like he was one of my favorite players in the league. Obviously, there's those years there on the Heat where I had no choice but to hate him. And yeah, he's just a gamer. He's always gonna play at 100% when he's on the court. He can defend, he can score. Not the best outside shooter, but you know what you're getting with Jimmy Butler. And I think doesn't quite break the top 30, but 31 is a good spot.
At number 30, we got Jamal Murray. And, I feel like Jamal Murray is the type of player where you forget how good he is until the postseason happens. And you're like, oh, yeah, right. He's got one of the most lethal step backs in the entire NBA, where this guy can make any off balance, any contested shot look easy and drain it. And I think, it's not his fault, but he's overshadowed because the best player in the NBA the past 5 years, Nikola Jokic, is also on the Denver Nuggets. But when you talk about a guy who just has, that type of scoring ability like Jamal Murray has, you have to put him up here. He's also a very good playmaker, but once again is overshadowed by Nikola Jokic. But Jamal Murray, man, that pick and roll with him and Jokic when they get going is one of the hardest plays in basketball to stop. It might be the hardest when they're both going because they both can score from the outside. They both can drive. Jamal Murray, like I said, can pull up that mid-range contested shot. I really, really like Jamal Murray. I think this is a guy that is just always slept on until April comes, and then you watch the first Nuggets playoff series and you go, oh, yeah, Jamal Murray is a kind of a superstar too. So Jamal Murray at 30, we got to give the man some respect.
Love that.
Yeah, big time gamer. That's
time
for sure. For sure.
Big time shit talker too.
Yeah. Kind of
Love that
respect
as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You got to. I had such a good run here, and now I got to talk about. I'd put him off this list if I could, to be honest. But we have to put him on here. 29's good. He is one of the best big man scorers in the league. He is one of the best big man shooters in the league. Like, he's a lethal 3-point shooter. He can go off for 40-point games. Just sometimes dominant in the post. Sometimes a great rebounder. Not a big time gamer. So that's why he should be like. And the thing with Towns that's so confounding is the talent is there to be a top 20, top 15, maybe even top 10 guy. But instead he's gonna hang out here at 29 and most likely disappear in a playoff series. Not the exact opposite of Jamal Murray. Yeah. So that's the nicest things I could say about Karl-Anthony Towns for this. You guys be nice.
I would say worse, so that's good. No, I mean, but like being real though, like all the things you said about his talent and like his offensive game it's there. I mean, I saw it firsthand in the playoffs against the Celtics, and we've seen it for years, right? Like it's not an understatement to say that he's one of the best. He's just one of the best shooters in the NBA. Not even big man shooter. He's probably one of the best big man shooters ever. He's probably one of the best shooters in the NBA right now. And I don't even think the Knicks have used Karl-Anthony Towns in as many ways as they can. Like you can do a lot with him on the offensive end, and him and Brunson, they're just going to continue to grow together. So, I mean, flowers where it's due. Like, Cat's an insane talent, but yeah, we know just sometimes he doesn't show up.
Yeah. All right, Dunny.
Bam, 28. On our Happy Hour Hoops Top 100. Bam Adebayo. This is before we got on the show, I was kind of talking about the same thing. It's not to the quite same degree as Karl-Anthony Towns, but there's been times in the past where Bam Adebayo hasn't shown up in the playoffs as well. So if we're going to say that about Cat, I will say that about Bam. I do think I would just if I'm picking between the two big men, I would rather have Bam. A little more athletic, better rebounder. I think a better defender. Obviously, does not have the shooting ability that Towns does, but a more of a lob threat, more of just like a traditional big is Bam Adebayo. A little undersized, but makes up with it with the jumping ability, like I mentioned, and I think this is a good spot for Bam. I would like to see Bam ascend a little more this year, but it seems like the league's kind of been hoping for that like the past 3 years. Um, but I think 28 is fair for Bam.
This is the Kentucky portion of the list. Here we got Bam, we got
Yeah,
Cat, we got Murray, we got Maxey, we got Fox.
that is crazy. Yeah, I didn't even notice that.
They're pumping them out there. All right, Steve.
Steve might have stepped away.
Oh, Steve is gone. I didn't see it. I was moving the
No, it's
list.
okay. I'll go for Steve. Jaren Jackson Jr. is number 27. Triple J. I mean, again, Jake, you already heard this because I talked about it on the at the beginning of the show or before the show. But Cat, Bam, and JJJ are all kind of in that little category for me where they've known to disappear, but supreme talents. Jaren Jackson Jr. definitely the best defender of the three. And again, another big opportunity year for Jaren Jackson Jr. They lost Bane. You know, last year was kind of the John Morant stuff, the injury. He had to hold down the fort. Next year or this upcoming year, it's going to be he needs to step up because Desmond Bane's gone. So he's going to need to be that second scoring option. He can do it, but you know, all this negative that we're saying about these guys that we have this high, it's just like let's see it now. Let's see you do the next thing.
Well, exactly. Like especially the eight that are on the screen right now, nine that are on the screen right now, are all guys who could be top 20, top 25 guys in the league, and
Yeah.
we've seen them show flashes of it all at one point.
Hmm.
And so yeah, like what more can you do here? Maybe not Derek. Maybe Derek White is. I mean, we're talking about him. He's the one who's just continuously ascending. I don't think Derek White has probably been higher on a list than he has in this year. But again, he's going to have the opportunity with Tatum out for the whole year, most of the year. Who knows? To really make an imprint on this. But yeah, all these guys could be all NBA level guys if things go right for them. So I will finish up here at 26. Alperen Sengun.
Hmm.
We're going to talk about the Rockets later on too, but the Rockets, listen, this is a guy, just an uber talented big man who is just a lethal scorer. The footwork is crazy. It's
Baby
great.
Jokic.
Baby Jokic. It's the old school too. Like he is back to the basket and will just
Yeah.
back you down and use like a just an up and under move, whatever he needs to do. He's got so many different moves in his arsenal to get you to break down as a defender. He's a great passer out of the post too. A great playmaker. He's a little bit of a liability. Again, like a lot of these guys, like their issues are defensively. Like Sengun's not the greatest player defensively as a big, but he makes up for it with all the skill that he has offensively. And they also have an incredible just defensive team built around him. And Ime Udoka is such a great defensive coach that they're able to kind of hide those deficiencies. But this is an A1 offensive big man talent who, I mean, he's still able to do it in 2025. But man, if he was around in 2000, like he'd probably be a top 10, top 5 player in the league. Like that's how good of an offensive talent he is around the basket and everything. So he doesn't quite crack the top 25 yet, but 26 is a great spot for Sengun and ahead of a lot of like, I don't know if we would have thought of him ahead of a lot of these names, especially the big man names here in the past couple years, but he's earned that spot ahead of Jackson, Adebayo, Towns, and everybody else we mentioned on this list here.
Yeah. No, I think it's nice. And yeah, it's funny, like the Sengun stuff, he's literally like we call him Baby Jokic, but it's everything that he's good at is just all the same stuff that Jokic is good at. Like Jokic, not the best defender, but like he has a knack for the ball and he has good hands. So he can make up for it in that regard. And like you mentioned, he's a super good offensive player. So obviously that helps as well. That was our 50 through 26, guys. Next week, we're going to hit you with the top 25. So
Woo!
be sure to tune in then. Jake, let's talk some news here
Let's do it.
because, of course, the last couple of weeks, it was just like little story here, little story there. No, since we recorded last, we got a good bit of stuff, starting with Giannis being tied to the Knicks once again. Shams, just a report out of nowhere, kind of earlier this week, saying the allegedly the Knicks were the only team that Giannis would leave the Bucks for. I mean, is this just another song and dance about Giannis that we're doing again, Jake, or what? Like, where are your feelers at with this? Is your radar up? Are you putting on a tinfoil hat? Like, where are we at?
So here, I have a question back for you.
Yes.
Do you think that Shams just found this out, or was he just waiting until 2 weeks before the season to release this information?
I would be surprised if Shams had just found that out.
Right. So that's what I wonder is like, okay, like if it's something, because we found out from that article late July, the Bucks GM had to fly over to Greece, had a one day meeting, and he flew over to Greece to basically find out if Giannis was going to ask for a trade or not. Like imagine being on that flight, like the thoughts going through your head as the GM. But
Yeah.
so it feels like it feels like ESPN, like we're going to save the story till closer to the season to really start the rumor mill. We need something to talk about to hype up the season, everything else. So for that, I move it down a couple pegs. But where there's smoke, there's fire. And we talked about it all summer long. I talked about it all last year, that I wouldn't be surprised if Giannis got moved the previous summer, in the summer of the offseason we just had. So the fact that he's still here, the fact that he's still around is an encouraging sign for the Bucks. But there's nothing else there's no other real levers the Bucks can pull. Like getting
No.
Miles Turner onto this roster was not something we expected them to be able to do in the first place, right? So that was really the last thing we thought. And even before that, the Dame trade was really like we're pushing all the chips in for Damian Lillard to get him on this roster and push them over the edge. So there's nothing else this Bucks team can do. But I don't know if you heard Charles today, and welcome back, Steve. I don't know if you heard Charles Barkley or today or the other day, whenever it was that he mentioned this, that it's about players being entitled to think they can play for the championship every year. And I think that LeBron's the person who probably started all of this, but Giannis, this on again, off again, I'm unhappy, I'm not unhappy. Like he's been doing it for years now, right? And at a certain point, Charles, and that's why I like the perspective of Charles when he's talking about the championships as a guy who didn't win one and who had been there before and everything else. Is like, it's really hard to get there. It's really hard to be a contending team. And Giannis and the Bucks were there at that level in the late 2010s and early 2020s. Were like the team to worry about in the Eastern Conference. They got a title out of this. Like they reached the pinnacle and everything else. I don't know what more the Bucks could do or what more the Bucks could have done. They built a great roster around Giannis and pushed a lot of chips in to get a great team around him. And so I don't understand if this is like a pressure standpoint or like, hey, Bucks, you need to do like keeping the pressure on them. It doesn't really make sense from that way because the Bucks have turned over every stone they possibly could to get players to come there. Like Milwaukee's not a free agent destination. They're not going to get players to come there like just easily as anybody else, and they've still been able to bring great talent in, whether it's Holiday, whether it's Dame, whether it's Turner now, by keeping Middleton around, by having Lopez in those moments. Like they built great teams around Giannis. And so if he's just fed up, then just be done, bro. Like why are you putting this franchise in the city that you claim to care about through this if you're not going to just leave? And the Knicks thing's interesting to me too, because what picks do the Knicks have left to do this? Like if you're the Bucks, and you're talking about why would like the Knicks just traded their whole future for Mikal Bridges a couple years ago? Like I just don't. So if it is the Knicks, we're just talking about Giannis only wanting to go to the Knicks. I don't see why the Bucks would entertain that, unless they're just trying to be happy with him. or it makes
because
him happy.
the only thing that makes sense is a Giannis for cat swaps with picks attached to it, or maybe some younger guys, but they don't really have that either. And it's like, oh, okay, so the Bucks are going to roll out Bobby Portis, Miles Turner, and Carl Anthony Towns all in the same starting lineup. Like, what sense does that make? And if you're going to talk about, them getting a guard, it's like, okay, well, it's not going to be Brunson. The Knicks aren't moving on from Brunson, and I don't think they're going to move McHale, like you just said, Jake. They just spent all those picks on him, so I don't really think there's a deal that makes sense here anymore, especially with the Bucks now signing Turner. And of course, I don't think they're attached to Turner by any means, but they kind of went out to get him, right? Like the Pacers, it kind of seemed like he was going home. Like they freaking made it to the NBA Finals, and they're like, no, we're gonna go get this guy and put him alongside Giannis. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be overly shocked if Giannis gets traded because I'm with you, Jake. Like I kind of think that's the Bucks' best move going forward here. You're not, we talked about it. They're probably, they can be in that contender conversation as long as they have Giannis. But I wouldn't bet them to win the NBA championship. I don't think they even have the second or third best odds in the East. But um, yeah, I think that's the move for the Bucks. But Knicks doesn't really make sense.
The last time I checked, they were like 7th or 8th in the East for odds to win
Yeah.
the East, which is crazy.
Yeah,
But
that might be a little low, but it's like they're not the favorites.
yeah. Steve, welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back. I'll let you guys deal with that. I caught kind of the brief end of it, but my thought process on this has kind of always been the same. Is that Giannis is still, in my opinion, one of the top 4 players in the NBA. He's a guy who can make any team kind of a contending team, no matter who he goes to. And I think you guys are right where the Knicks, it almost feels like that window to acquire Giannis is kind of closed because the roster structure just doesn't really make sense. And it doesn't really make sense with the Milwaukee Bucks timeline and what they want to do in the roster that they have currently constructed. However, the one thing I wanted to add, though, is just I didn't really think. I always kind of thought that Giannis leaving the Bucks was just, oh yeah, Giannis is going to leave the Bucks. Giannis is going to leave the Bucks. Rumors here. This, past couple days from just everything that's kind of been said makes me feel like I think Giannis wants out at this point. Like I feel like it's not anymore where Giannis is like, how we always said Giannis is loyal to Milwaukee. He wants to stay in Milwaukee. This offseason's made me feel a little differently. I don't want to say offseason. I want to say this past week. But recently it's like it feels like maybe it's, going to be sooner than we expect. Because that was kind of the tone I got from it. I don't know what you guys got from it, but it felt like to me that this was one or two things, right? It's like, hey, this roster is not good enough. Go get a player right now, or go get a couple players. Or B, it's like, I'm already kind of checked out. And that's a tough sign for Milwaukee because I think Dunny and I agreed that we kind of liked the Bucks roster a little bit. We didn't love it, but we thought, it's better than people expected. But if you're a superstar, the heart and soul of your team is pretty much got his mind elsewhere. This is not the year in the East to have that. I mean, this is the year the East is wide open. So it's kind of strange that this is all kind of happening right now, right before the season starts, where you get the Giannis rumors populating once again. And at this time, I feel like it's the first time that it feels like it's a different tone than in the past with these rumors, where before it's like, yeah, these are rumors. These are almost kind of like my team NBA, the My League trade, the trade machines where everyone's like, oh, Giannis here would be crazy. Giannis here would be crazy. This time it just feels like anywhere but Milwaukee.
Imagine they sent him to Utah for a Laurie swap.
Just straight up. Danny would be. He'd be feeling good after that.
Oh, that's what he's been up to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's weird times for Giannis. Jake, you kind of nailed it too. It's like, what has really been going on the last couple of years? Are you happy or not, dude? And Giannis is like, this isn't like coming at like Giannis's character at all. It's just like the whole like smoke screen stuff is. I don't know. It's just like the Bucks are in like too weird of a spot to kind of be playing those games, in my opinion. I'm sure the Bucks are doing the same thing to him a little bit. Just before we move on from the Bucks, the Damian Lillard era on the Bucks is going to be one of those things in 10 to 15 years from now where it's like people aren't going to believe you when you're like, "Oh, you remember Dame on the Bucks?" And you're like,
Immaculate grid. It's
"What?"
going to be in the immaculate
Yeah,
grid where you're like, oh, right, Dame, Portland, Milwaukee. Who played for them?
yeah. It's crazy, dude. But yeah, anyway, who knows the Giannis? The Knicks doesn't make any sense to me. But something else that didn't make sense at all. LeBron said, "Fooled you" to everyone in America because he said he had the decision number two coming earlier this week, and it just ended up being a damn Hennessy commercial. So LeBron fooled us, but probably the bigger news. We'll squish this all into one, and then we can all say our thoughts on LeBron here. But just before we started recording, which never happens this way. Well, I guess we're recording this and then putting it out tomorrow. But this did come out right before we started recording. LeBron James is going to miss the first 3 to 4 weeks of the season with sciatica, and he's never missed a season opener. So this is pretty big for Mr. LeBron. This is pretty big news for the Lakers. So in the same week, he fooled us, and he's also going to miss the start of the season. Thoughts on Mr. James? Jake, you start.
Well, the second decision into a Hennessy ad was pretty ridiculous. I thought
Didn't love it.
I thought it was at least we were theorizing in various group chats on Monday. What could this be? What could happen? I thought it would be something taco related. It was National Taco Day, Taco Tuesday. Like that's been the Bronx thing. Nope, just not even that. Couldn't even get as inventive as that. It's just a Hennessy ad.
What was the percent
I guess.
chance you thought it might be? I'm coming to the Cavs. I'm coming home.
Oh, to the Cavs, that was like a 0%. I really thought he was retired. I thought he was announcing his retirement.
Retirement tour.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
it
don't
was
think-
retirement tour time.
The only thing I wasn't like sold on that is it was so close to the start of the season. I don't think LeBron would announce it then. I think he would announce it well in advance.
Oh, it's the day he gets eliminated from the
Right.
playoffs.
Yeah, right. You know what I mean? Like it's sometime
Yeah.
like randomly in the summer. He's like, oh, by the way, it's like July 4th. He's like, hey, 4th
Yeah.
of July. But by the way, this is going to be my final year coming up that everyone talks about him. Because that's when I saw it. I was like, he's not going to. It was, what was it, a Tuesday or is it a Wednesday? Like he teased the tweet at like noon. That's not LeBron.
Yeah.
If he's going to announce something like that. So it almost did feel like it was going to be like a troll. But I think my initial reaction, I think your guys' initial reaction is when he says biggest announcement, we're like, oh my God, like this is
Yeah.
this is going to be something important. No, it's just Hennessy.
Just Hennessy, which to some people is very important. So no
Sure,
shade
but
to the Hennessy lovers of the world. But let's get into the him being out the first 3 to 4 weeks of the season, out with sciatica. We know we made a joke last week about his glute pain, and now it makes more sense. This is an injury that definitely affects that. It's a shooting pain from your back and go all the way down your leg. But here's the thing: is LeBron's had lower back issues for the last couple years, right? He sat out a lot of time with lower back issues. Probably, I would imagine it's related to this. Maybe they're just naming it for the first time. Whatever else. Could he play through this? I think he probably could. I don't think this is something that is like, at least from my understanding, and I'm somebody who suffers from this. I'm not an NBA basketball player. I feel like he could play through this. So I'm thinking of it as more, is LeBron trying to sit out to see what this team looks like without him? Because we still had the odds of it being like, is LeBron going to be a Laker at the start of the season? Well, he'll be a Laker to start the season, that's for sure. But he's not going to be playing with the Lakers. And it's a chance for LeBron to kind of sit back and see what this all looks like without him and see I'm not even saying it from a devious thing, but it could be from a devious thing too. Like, do they need him? Do they not need him? What's Luka doing? Like, how is he going to impact it? It feels like there is so much weirdness around this situation with LeBron all summer long. that him sitting for the first month feels like it's adding to the weirdness. Feels like it just is building to a kind of a time bomb of, well, okay, now you're giving up a month of Luka doing everything. And what if they're like, I don't know how many games they have in the first 4, but what if they're like 9-2 to start the year? What if Luka is just dominating and everything? Like, how does LeBron get worked back? How do you work LeBron back into all this? What does LeBron think he needs to get worked back into all of it? So I don't know, man. I hope he gets healthy. I hope that it's just that he needs a break, and it would make sense to load manage him throughout this year. You want him for March and April to be with Luka, not right now, but it just feels like we know that there's been some underlying tension there, and they've been pushing Luka. If you're just from a PR standpoint, like they've been pushing Luka. Luka's the face of this team. Luka was on Hot Ones today. Like Luka is literally everywhere, and that's not something we'd ever seen from Luka before. So this is not a Luka thing wanting to do this. It's the Lakers wanting to do this with Luka, right?
They want him to be the face, right?
Yeah.
They want him to be the face of the Lakers. They want him to be the face of the NBA. That was the big thing, right? We talked about is we don't really know who's going to be the next face after LeBron. Obviously, Jokic is worldly talent, but he doesn't care about being the face of the NBA. SGA is kind of a little more, quiet in his own right. Giannis, same thing. Luka was kind of becoming that guy, and then, everything kind of happened with Dallas, fat shame, whatever. The Lakers are just trying to bring him back, and you're in LA, right? This is where faces of the NBA go, right? You got LeBron James there, you had Kobe, you had Shaq, you had Magic, you had Kareem. Like this is where stars or guys who could just be the face are to be, and that's with Luka, he's already kind of had that where he was kind of starting to be brought up as the next face of the league, and maybe that's what the Lakers are kind of almost like grooming him to be, is they want him to be in all these ads. They want him to be the face of the team. And it's, I don't want to say a mutual, respect with LeBron, but I think LeBron also understands too, right? Like he's kind of moving out. He's way past his prime. He's still a fantastic basketball player, but he's no longer the face of the Lakers. He wasn't the face of the Lakers after they made this trade, and I think he has to accept that. And I think the Lakers have accepted that, and I think you're right where this is a golden opportunity for the Lakers at the start of the year to basically just be like, all right, Luka, go put up 35, 10, and 9. Go put up something outrageous in the first month without LeBron. And then LeBron's going to, weigh his options from there as, hey, is this a team I'm coming back and I'm going to be a big part of? Or is LeBron looking kind of almost past the NBA at this point? Tell you what, he enjoyed golfing a lot this summer with Bronny. Him and Bronny had a good time on the links. So, it's interesting too, because I also feel like, and maybe you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I also feel like his, tease of his biggest, decision or announcement ever was almost like a subtle jab of like, hey, it's coming. It's coming. So this might be a Hennessy ad, but he wants everyone, kind of watching out because it's coming soon. Because LeBron James could ultimately just be the one player who no one would question if he's just like middle of the season. Oh, yeah, I'm going to be done by January. I'm going to play till January, then I'm done. No one's going to tell him he can't, right? At this point, he could do whatever he wants. So, and I don't think
he wouldn't retire without a retirement tour, though.
No, and I don't think he'll do that. But it just felt weird, the timeline of everything, where I just feel like LeBron James right now, he knows he's as good of a troll as anybody. He's as locked in online as anybody. He knows what he gets clicks. He knows what gets everybody talking. He knows what gets the talking heads on all the sports network shows just going crazy. He knows what he's doing, and it's a classic LeBron. Put the spotlight on him. Now he's out for a few weeks, and then something's going to happen. LeBron's going to come back into the limelight. So, golden opportunity for the Lakers to, like you said, to kind of just showcase Luka as their face of their franchise and that team, and also LeBron too, to just kind of figure out what he wants to do going forward.
Yeah, and before we move on from LeBron, the last thing I wanted to say, like, Jake, you made a really good point that, like, LeBron probably could play through this, but I think in a way because I agree, he probably could, but I think him sitting out these 3 to 4 weeks is kind of an endorsement of Luca and how comfortable he feels with him, like kind of leading the charge and being like, I don't think LeBron would sit out the first 3 to 4 weeks if he didn't think that, the Lakers were at least in good enough hands. So I think obviously Luca will have no problem being the guy. Steve, you mentioned it. He was on it. He was already on his way to being the face of the league in Dallas, and we saw what he did when he was the man in Dallas. Like
Right.
the Lakers should be fine here, but it's just going to be a weird start to the season without LeBron, and we'll see what he's like when he comes back. I also saw that DeAndre Ayton says that he hasn't worked with Luca or LeBron yet, so I'm not really sure how that's possible.
Shocking. DeAndre Ayton hasn't worked. Shocking.
Yeah. Um, but Jake, any last LeBron thoughts?
No, I just think it's going to be a drama-filled year in Los Angeles. I just don't see any way around it. He's got too big of
Lakers.
Yeah, for real. He's got too big. He's got too big of an ego. He's never ceded the spotlight to anybody else on his team. I just don't see it happening this year for Luca, no matter how much he thinks of Luca, and if he should or not.
Right. All right, guys. I have to get a little more delusional here because Jason Tatum dunked just 150 days after an Achilles surgery. I mean, that's insane, dude. He posted a video of himself just hitting a quick vertical jump, standing directly under the basket. I winced when I watched the video, even though that Tatum willingly posted it. I should have known that he was going to finish the dunk cleanly. But this is also someone who Shams reported today that Tatum has told the Boston Celtics that he wants to play this year. So obviously crazy ahead of schedule. I watched the Celtics' first preseason game last night. Brown had 21 points in 20 minutes. Derek White had 10 assists. The rookie Hugo Gonzalez looked like just a basketball player. Like he was just everywhere last night. The big situation is still really, really grim, but I'm super delusional for this team, especially if Tatum's going to come back, man. If Tatum's going to come back, Jaylen Brown looks like a different player. I know it's preseason, but
let's reel you in a little bit, Tony. Just a little bit, not too far, just a little bit. A little bit here. East is wide open. I get that, and trust me, I understand like the Tatum dunking and Tatum saying that he's going to play this year and all that. But we're still talking about an Achilles injury. Let's just pump the brakes a little bit and just realize what we are talking about. We are talking about an Achilles injury. We have seen this not just in basketball, Dunny. We have seen this across all sports. And the biggest thing I want to say with an Achilles injury is it's not just when they're back. It's when they're back to being able to play how they were. Sometimes never how they once were, but at least as close as they once were. Because Tatum can say, hey, I'm going to be back in April. Let's just put that out there, right? Let's just say Tatum says he's going to be back in April. Celtics like he's going to be back in April when the playoffs start. We don't know what Tatum we're going to get. Tatum being back probably isn't going to be 100% Tatum because I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't feel like Tatum's going to come back by 100%. He's going to try to come back when he's at 75%, when he's at 80%, because that's how these athletes are, especially ones that suffer these types of injuries, right? These severe Achilles, ACLs. They always want to try to get back as soon as possible. And right now, the workouts, the rehab, everything's as good as it's ever been. So you see this and you get excited. But we have countless examples of these athletes coming back. And the first, honestly, month you look and you're like, well, they're playing, but it's not the guy who once was. And then you see that next offseason happen, right? And then that next season, you're like, oh, okay, look, they're starting to get back in the groove of things. We see this all the time with NFL running backs, right? We see this everywhere. And that's where I always just like, trust me, I get the hype. I know you want to be delusional, and I know you're biting your tongue right now because you hate me. But to be honest with you, Dunny, I'm just trying. I don't want to be glass half empty here, but I'm just trying to get you realistic where being back is one thing, playing like Jason Tatum pre-injury again is a whole nother thing to deal with. And that's where I'm talking to you because I'm also trying to talk to myself about Kyrie Irving, where I'm like, oh, Kyrie might be back in January. We might not have got full Kyrie until March. We may not have, Kyrie 100% this year. But the fact of the matter is, and Tatum's injury and Achilles injury, when he suffered it, is a much different scenario, right? From the timeline when he hit it, the Achilles injury. So he might try to be back. But I don't know if we're going to see 100% full Tatum this season. And that might just be something that just maybe he tries to play through it. And the East is wide open. So maybe they push him a little bit. But being back is one thing. Being back to Jason Tatum pre-injury is a whole nother ballgame.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I don't think even if he does come back that he will be Tatum for a little bit, but I also think like I have the delusion, but it's mostly just because now it's like I said last week, like the videos and like him dunking today, and now that they're reporting it on ESPN that he wants to play, like I was just kind of in the mindset where like yeah, like I love these glimmers of hope, but if you put a gun to my head, like I would still bet on him not returning next season because all the reasons you laid out and the organization who has this guy on a super max deal and them not wanting to risk it as much as he should not want to risk it either. But just kind of the way he's talking about it, I guess is kind of where I'm getting a more delusional than I could have been last week. But I agree with everything that you're saying. And I do still think if someone asked me like what I would do if I was the Celtics, I think I still slightly lean I would want to sit him down, like no matter how much progress he made
Yeah.
when his return date is. But um, just crazy shit in general. The 150 days and he's already on the court dunking with no
Yeah, that's
apparatus,
impressive.
no brace, no wrap, anything on that Achilles. So crazy. Jake, you
It is
any
crazy.
Tatum thoughts?
Well, I just think the fact that it's you hit the nail on the head right at the end there for me is that the fact that it's Tatum the one saying it and not the team being like we hope Jason is back by the end of the year. Like
Mm-hmm.
Brad Stevens is a prudent man. Like Brad is not going to rush anything along where if he doesn't think it's necessary. And so sometimes you have to save the player from himself. I don't know if this is like I don't feel like the Celtics don't want him to be out here saying this. If I were to guess that Brad Stevens is like not loving it, are they gonna like publicly come out and be like Jason Tatum's not playing this year and like shut him down like that? Like no, they're not gonna do that because he's their superstar, he's their franchise, everything else. But at least right now it feels like just him trying to be like, hey guys, I'm good. And let everybody know
Yeah.
and put that and get the fans on you, like get you excited, get the fans excited, get that public pressure whatever he can to get back on the court. He also got an experimental surgery that this was clearly like a plan, like he had a plan in place that if he ever had this injury, he was getting shipped right to the hospital to get this experimental surgery done and try this to recover faster than anybody else has ever recovered from the Achilles injury. And I think part of him probably wants to be remembered for that too, as a guy who can come back from that. So it's interesting. It's going to be an interesting storyline to see once we get to February, March. Like, hey, like, will this team actually let him do it? And maybe they like. We were talking about it, the East is wide open. If the Celtics are a 5 seed, a 4 seed, a 6 seed, and you can add Jason Tatum to your roster, a healthy Jason Tatum and a guy that you say is fully healthy and looks good and ready to go, like why not? But why would you not just keep those, cards close to your chest too if you're the Celtics? So I think Tatum, I think he's manifesting it a little bit. He's manifesting it, but the fact that he dunked and is having this recovery at this rate is insane.
And like that's who Tatum is too, right? Like I think he likes the fact that like everyone before this injury obviously was like, oh, this is Mr. Durability. Like he doesn't miss games. And he's the one who always talks about like the young fans come to watch me play. Like I want to play all those games. I want to play the Monday night games in Charlotte or whatever he said a couple of years ago. And just one last point to Steve, kind of what you were talking about, like yeah, we saw this with Durant, and a bunch of other athletes, like you
Mm-hmm.
said. The one thing that I think Tatum has on his side, one is the quickness in which he got the surgery, Jake, which you
Right.
kind of alluded to there, and then two, like this is a guy who's still at the beginning of his prime, so he does have the youth factor on his side,
Sure.
where the re-injury thing is that's in his favor. It's not a high of a percentage as a Kevin Durant who is coming, kind of already past the age of 30 when he was going through this. So there's just those little things that it being Tatum, him being on the younger side still, and him just kind of having a freak body before this is also kind of feeding into the delusion. But yes, I want to be safe. I trust Jaylen Brown. So I think it's going to be a fun season. That's kind of what I gathered from the preseason game last night. Like regardless, I was like, I think I'm going to enjoy this year. And Jake, if you say like, they could end up 4, 5, 6 seed or not, that's not you predicting that, but you're just laying that out. Like that is crazy because then Tatum comes back. You're pretty much a 1 seed with the 5 seeds close on, if that's the
Yeah.
case, because it's like you just know like you're the 5 seed, then all of a sudden you insert Jason Tatum into the lineup anymore. Like you're no longer the 5 seed, regardless of what your record says. So yeah, just exciting stuff. We don't have to do too much. This isn't a Celtics corner here, but pretty crazy shit. Duncan 150 days after an Achilles surgery. You guys want to talk a little Team USA?
Shout out Coach Spo. Shout out Coach Spoelstra. Well deserved, right?
Oh my God, so deserved.
I don't want to dive into it too much, but Spoelstra, one of the best coaches in the NBA. Another guy, too, who gets the best out of his players. We're going to probably talk about some random guys on the Miami Heat this year when they're playing better than we expected. I think it was Kelly Ware was just dominant in the preseason. Not going to try to overreact to the preseason, but, Spoelstra just gets the best out of his players, so of course it makes sense for him to coach Team USA, to get, that chemistry going with some of the best players in the world. Well-deserved, long overdue in my opinion, and the right guy, right? I don't think any of us have anything bad to say about Spoelstra.
No, Coach Spo is a guy who the many years on this podcast and beforehand, anytime I talked about the Heat Celtics rivalry, like the one constant that I could always give the Heat credit for is Coach Spo. Like I've just always thought he's either been the best coach in the league or top 3. I think, as far as I can remember since the LeBron Miami Heat days, like I just feel like he's comfortably been in that position.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously building the pedigree, like that helped to have that big 3 and to win those championships with those guys. But you still don't get that stuff done, no matter who you have on your team without a good head coach. And he's just proven to be just exactly that every day since then as well. So just right man for the job. I also like Coach Bo much more than I like Steve Kerr. So this is pretty cool.
Yeah, this is awesome for him, and it makes it like Kerr said he wasn't going to do it for a long time. This feels like the right guy to be there. I mean, Spo will probably do it. I feel like Spo will do it as long as he possibly can.
Yeah,
there's going to be a couple different iterations of this team. So yeah, big move. I love it for him. Team USA going to keep rolling along as they always do.
Coach Bo will probably do this until he starts looking like Pop.
Probably, bro. I can't imagine Spo ever not coaching.
No. Just the
like
blank stare, arms crossed on the
like that
sideline.
dude, from what we know from him, like the video coordinator life all the way to NBA coach, like the grind
cool.
He's done, like there's no way
why
would you ever give this up? Do it.
Yeah, exactly. I was just gonna say, he's like, I'm not fucking giving this shit.
Yeah, hell no, man.
I used to love that. You'd be playing 2K either with the Miami Heat or against them, and the broadcast would be like, Coach Spoelstra actually came up in the video editing crew for the Miami Heat.
It was good. It's good for like the first couple times you hear it, and then you just realize it's the only thing they have. So every game, it's just on repeat. It's like, yep, I do that.
It's like the Clayton Kershaw and Matthew Stafford going to the same high school.
Dude, that one drives me nuts because that was even a video game thing. That was just a broadcast.
Yeah, no, they still just do that.
Rams game, they're like Stafford. Like when he first got traded to LA, right?
Yeah.
They're like Stafford in LA now. Believe it or not, there's another LA star who we went to high school. I'm like, I know. You've said this the past 3 weeks. Like, it drove me nuts, man.
Yeah. Fun fact for you.
You know when they start with fun fact, it's gonna be awful.
You're like, oh, this is gonna be a fact I already know. Thanks. Anyway, guys, we're gonna end the show with a quote of the week. Haven't had one in 2025 yet. So, quote of the week: Kevin Durant to Ace Bailey. If you didn't catch it, you should go watch the clip of this too, because this is just classic Kevin Durant. I love it. He's in a preseason game. Ace Bailey was trying to talk shit to him, and Kevin Durant says, "Quote: You're new here. You're brand new here, boy. Why you ass talking? Sit your ass down." And like, this is just perfect, Kevin Durant, man.
Yo.
Obviously, like, just a good point too. Like, Ace Bailey, especially if you were directing that shit talking to Kevin Durant, just a crazy move. I mean, we know Ace Bailey is a overly confident fellow out there, but KD's not the one you want to pick battles with, as far as just going up against, playing, and also shit talking.
I love the rookies that trash talk a little bit. I do. I love them because it shows that they have confidence, that they believe in themselves. But this is something, all right, let's see it on the court now, right? If you want to run your mouth like that, Ace Bailey, let's see. Let's see it when you match up against the Rockets. Let's see how it goes. But I do love that, a little bit of banter. And also, too, I love that he went for Kevin Durant because he knows that Kevin Durant's going to react to it, right? He's not going to brush it off. Like, this is KD. KD hears what everyone said about him. He's been dealing with it his entire career. I absolutely love that. So, great quote. But also, you know, I'll give Ace Bailey, I'll give him a little bit of a shout out because I like that. I like the rookie kind of going after it, showing like, hey, I'm here. Like, I'm not afraid of anything. Because it's one thing if he goes to a random role player and kind of starts talking crap. He's going right to KD. That's kind of what Anthony Edwards did a little bit, right? That's kind of like what some of these guys do when they enter the leagues. Like we saw on the WNBA side, that was what Paige was doing. She was going up to all the superstars and just saying a little bit. Like, I like that. It shows you're confident. You believe in your game. Now we just got to see it on the court. But you knew, you said
to be fair, he dropped 25 last night. Like, he's playing well.
Right. That's the thing. That's why, like, I don't mind that. I know some people like get upset that like they haven't earned anything. Like they're going from college to the NBA. Like this is a men's league. Like good luck. It's like I don't care, dude. Like, yeah, you're a kid. You're 18. You're 19. Have confidence in your game. Why not?
Yeah, I didn't hate it whatsoever. It's just the response by KD is just so perfect.
Yeah, it's just the most KD response. Can I give a little honorable mention for quote of the week by the same guy, Mr. Kevin Durant? He was on Up and Adams this week with Kay Adams, and she loves to try to stir the pot. Was trying to get him to say he wants Westbrook on the Houston Rockets, which kind of like toyed at the whole time, and then finally, got KD to answer where he said, quote, Russ is a legend, and I think he deserves to be in the NBA right now. I think he deserves to walk out of the NBA on his terms, so yeah, that'll be dope. In reference to if he would like Westbrook to join with the Rockets, which I don't know about you guys. And it sounds like KD wants to play with Russ again. I know Russ wants to play basketball until he's 85 years old. So, man, I'd shed a little tear if we saw a KD Russ reunion, especially on a team like the Houston Rockets that have championship aspirations this year. Man, dude, that would be incredible. So I like that quote. I know the other quote's a little bit funnier, but this quote kind of makes me feel like, hey, maybe KD does want to team up with Russ again. Maybe we'll get that one more time. And I'm honestly, Russ, kind of a good fit for the Rockets. Just that spark plug off the bench. They already have a couple of them, right? You got
Van Vliet's down.
Yeah, Van Vliet's down. You need some guard depth. I don't hate this whatsoever.
Jake, what says you?
I would love it. I think we all want Russ to have a chance at a ring. It would be poetic if it happened with Kevin Durant. It would be even more poetic if these two had to face the Thunder in a conference finals to get there. Like, just imagine.
You're writing the
that
script right
scenario.
now, Jake.
Yeah,
You're
like, I
writing
need
the
it.
You're writing the script right
Absolute
now.
cinema.
I need it. So yeah, this would be a great move. And like you said, it makes a lot of sense. Van Vliet's out. They need some depth there. It's not like you need to be the starter, and he would thrive as manning the bench unit. Like, that'd be the perfect thing for him to do. So I think the Rockets should welcome it, bring it in. I feel like he'd match Ime Udoka's energy perfectly too. Like, would just be like a perfect guy for that team. Let's get it done. Come on, Houston. Do what's right.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought it up and not me, because I'm sure people are sick of me bringing up Ime every time we talk about the Rockets. But like, Russ is an Ime guy, dude. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's an Ime guy built in a lab. If Ime's building like a my player, that's who he's building. That type of build.
Yeah. He's gonna all right, check in and go knock over number 6.
Yeah.
He's gonna be Russ is gonna be Ime's pit bull out there. No, I hope this happens, just like for a multitude of reasons. We want Russ back in the league. We want to see this duo back together. And I mean, if they could win together, that's just the cherry on top. So that's going to be it, guys. That was 50 through 26 for our top 100. We get the top 25 next week. Exciting stuff. Who knows with Giannis? LeBron fooled us, and he's going to miss the first 3 to 4 weeks. That was the quote of the week. And follow us on all socials at Happy Hour Hoops 1. And shout out to Trainwreck Sports for presenting the show, guys. Thank you all for listening. See you next week.